Largely bookending the summer season of virtual conferences, EGX Digital and PAX Online runs from today, September 12th, all the way through to the 20th, with it bringing many of your favourite show floor features with developer sessions, live streams, industry-focused panels, let's play content, and of course, plenty playable demos with hundreds of indie games virtually showcasing their wares at the 9-day event. Welcome once more to Get Indie Gaming, where in this video, we run down our top 15 picks of the best looking indie games you can find at this year's EGX Digital and PAX Online. Up first, and running in alphabetical order, let's begin with Anew the Distant Light. Now this one is looking to deliver a single-player Metroidvania adventure across a huge handcrafted open world with diverse environments, a massive cast of enemy creatures, machines and screen-filling bosses. The visuals, well, they're certainly striking, and we really like and want to see more about the game's differing and branching narrative threads, all communicated to you not just via the visuals, but also from the game's music and sounds. While there's no firm release date, the current launch plan sees Anew Distant Light first out on PC with console releases to follow. Coming up next, and a game that would have been right up at the pointy end of those we'd have been wanting to check out first at a real-life event, Blade Assault is a cracking-looking pixel art 2D action roguelite platformer, that's easy to say in one mouthful, that's all set within a desolate sci-fi environment. The bright and vibrant colours and of course that exquisite-looking pixel art work together with what seems a solid and satisfying fast-paced combat system. All of this makes Blade Assault a must-play once it's out, at a time that's to be advised. Next up, and one of two better well-known games in this PAX and EGX Online showcase of ours, and certainly one we've not given half the attention it deserves. Boyfriend Dungeon has one of those premises. Well, it'll either go one of two ways, where it takes the concept of the dungeon crawler and pushes things forward with romance options, where you're able to date sentient weapons. So in this one, you'll be able to find male, female and non-binary characters to choose from, with each offering a different playstyle where you go about clearing dungeons and then head off for a nice quick date. Boyfriend Dungeon could be a fine mix of proper bonkers with it coming to Switch and the PC at some point next year. Up now, and the other reasonably well-known game in this rundown, and one we've covered a few times before here on the channel. Cris Tales is expected out on November 17th, and it bills itself as an indie game love letter to classic JRPGs, all within a bundle that offers a fresh and new perspective. Having recently played the demo, which at the time this video airs is still available via Steam, Cris Tales uses a past and present gameplay mechanic that enables you to alter your character's eventual future. The combat is turn-based, with it relying on a timing perspective, all within a handcraft, dark and yet deliciously looking fairy tale adventure. This is coming out on pretty much everything, including all the usual consoles, and also Google's Stadia platform. We're thinking this might be one of the most popular games of the show, and if you're planning on getting this one when it launches in November, let us know down in the comments. Pushing things forward, we have Dark Light, which unlike most if not all of the other games in this list, is already out in early access, with it dropping earlier in the year. First up, while it's not particularly long, this is one of the slickest early access games we've played this year, not just in terms of the overall aesthetics, which certainly have a cinematic quality to them, but also in how well it's put together in terms of the quality of the build. It seems to be pretty much bug and glitch free, and as a Metroidvania platformer, it's wonderful to have something, well, that's just a little bit different. Dark Light is shaping up rather nicely, and could be one that might just topple Dead Cells on the top of the Get Indie Gaming virtual leaderboard if and when it finally comes out as a full release. Expected out towards the middle of next year on PC, PlayStation 4, Switch and Xbox, Forclosed is a cyberpunk action shooter that's looking to create and combine the interactivity you'll typically find within video games and visual aesthetics of certain comic books and visual novels. Forclosed is said to feature interactive cutscenes, screen-on-screen panels and text bubbles, where you'll see a smooth transition from gameplay, with the developers saying this offers players a new way in which to play and feel like an actual live comic book hero. There's something going on here that's worth keeping an eye on, with it currently expected out towards the middle of next year.
Have a nice day, Mr. Capnos.
Up now, and keeping with the cyberpunk theme, Gamedec should be coming later this year, and with it offering a single-player isometric RPG without combat, which makes for a very welcome change within the genre. You play as a detective solving crimes, or within virtual reality. You'll need to use your sleuthing skills to get to the bottom of various crimes, schemes and misdemeanors. Gamedec is interestingly said to adapt to your choices and playstyle, where your character becomes the sum of these decisions. Gamedec will be out on PC via Steam, GOG with Switch players will also be able to get in on the action from launch, with other consoles perhaps to follow. Moving on, and at number 8, Hellcard caught our eye with it like Slay the Spire, being a roguelike deck builder that will support both single and multiplayer modes. The game takes place in what's called the Book of Demons, which was also the first game in this series, which lends itself to this paper-like aesthetic with turn-based card-related battles. The developers are promising there's enough going on here to differentiate it from the aforementioned Slay the Spire, and there's no doubt we'll find out for ourselves when it comes out, if planned, in Q2 of 2021. Up next we have Inkulinati. It's another game we've shown off on the channel a few times over the years, with it looking better and better with each update. Simply put, well, here we have a turn-based strategy game inspired by 700-year-old medieval drawings of the sort and kind you'd find within the margins of manuscripts written during the period. It'll launch with a single-player campaign and split-screen PvP, with this one being one of the most standout, well, different-looking games we've had the pleasure of covering in a good few months. This one, like so many of the games in this rundown, is expected out over the course of 2021. Coming up, we have, with a planned launch date of this coming holiday season, Night Squad 2, and it's a return to the much-loved arcade-themed multiplayer experience for up to 8 players. This successor looks like it's going to play out in the same way as the original, with a top-down old-school aesthetic. This time there are 13 different battle modes, such as Capture the Flag and Battle Royale, with a smattering of new modes, including the interestingly titled Minion Master mode. The original was a great party game, and we're hopeful this follow-up will be every bit as good when it comes out later this year onto PC by way of Steam, and also onto the Xbox One. Moving swiftly into the last 5, we have Moo Lander, which, like many games in this list, is expected out next year. As you can probably see on screen, this one is a colourful 2D adventure platformer, and it comes with Metroidvania elements, with it featuring a cute-looking collection of cows, with you by all accounts heading off on an epic journey to try and retrieve a mythical device that's said to generate infinite amounts of milk, which in Moo Lander is the purest source of energy there is. This looks to be a good-natured single and couch player game, with it coming to PCs and consoles. Up now, No Place for Bravery grabbed our attention with a recent demo, with it offering a 2D top-down action RPG that's utterly brutal. We're talking Dark Souls and Sekiro levels of difficulty here, and you're constantly needing to focus on your character's parries and blocks in what's, quite honestly, a surprisingly deep, for a pixel art game some would say, combat mechanic. No Place for Bravery should be out next year on PC, with it also coming to the Switch. Next up, and one we're really hoping makes its way out in time for this coming Halloween, Pumkin Jack looks like the kind of 3D action platformer we've been wanting to play for ages, with it featuring a colourful and lurid landscape that's full of beasts and nasties around every corner. The combat is said to feature and be heavily based on combo attacks and dodging, with you unlocking new weapons as you progress. There's also said to be friendly NPCs to help you along the way, with Pumkin Jack bouncing its way onto PC, the PlayStation 4, the Switch, and the Xbox One. And the penultimate game in this little countdown. We've said it before and we'll say it again, we're not usually into horror games here on the channel. We're just not much a fan of the genre, although every once in a while we see something that makes us want to take a quick and further look. Return One Way Trip, well, it's just one of those games, and it looks like it'll feature some beautiful pixel art, 2-player characters and a story involving an abandoned train with an evil that haunts it, seemingly with a desire to avenge an unrequited love. By the looks of things, there's a demo which you can play today, and you can get hold of this via Steam when it launches next month on October the 14th. And at number 1 in what was, remember, an alphabetical rundown, we have the quite daft and yet magically named and looking Rustler Grand Theft Horse. Now this one's said to feature an open world top-down action game that plays out and looks in the style of GTA 2, all within a historically accurate medieval setting. Your player is a chap called Guy, and you go about basically doing epic and insane quests, getting into all sorts of trouble and mischief along the way, and generally, well, getting up to no good. We suspect this will be fun, if a little silly in a good way, and we're looking forward to experience it when it comes out in the first half of 2021. And that's all we've got time for in this brief look into some of the best looking games to feature at the PAX and EGX Online Festival, which begins today, September 12th, 2020. You can find links and timestamps to all of the games featured in this video, and while you're here, be sure to click that like button and subscribe to the channel if you've yet to do so. Now we're getting really close to 100k subs, and we'd love you to join the community we all have here at Get Indie Gaming. Either way, many thanks for watching, and we'll see you all again here soon for another indie game video.